Welcome to my review of 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey is directed by Sam Taylor Johnson. It stars Dakota Johnson, Jamie Dornan, and a bunch of other very talented actors and actresses. Now, the premise of this movie follows the character of Anastasia, who is played by Dakota Johnson. She is a senior in college. She ends up doing a favor for her roommate who is sick, who is a journalist, who ends up getting an interview with Christian Grey, who is very known and popular because he's a billionaire, he's young, he's handsome. They end up having an interview, something clicks, and that's when the story just ends up happening between these two characters. Now, personally, I've only gone up to chapter 9 in the first 50 Shades of Grey book, simply because I honestly just did not like the writing in the book. So I went into this movie just being fully aware of the first 9 chapters of the book, and I feel like the first 9 chapters really gives you a good idea of who these characters are, what they look like, how they behave. So I had at least a grasp of who these characters were, at least when it comes to their first introduction and their personality that they first are given when we're first introduced to them. So I have to say, Dakota Johnson did a really good job with Anastasia Steele. I felt like she really did portray that character well. She did a good job portraying a naive, innocent type of girl who was being thrust into a really weird relationship with this very known profiled man called Christian Grey, who was very one-noted and very forward. I feel like Jamie Dornan did a good job portraying this character who obviously has a lot of problems. He really doesn't know how to really socialize with a person in a very normal way. He's just very, cold in a lot of ways when it comes to just dealing with a person, when it comes to having a relationship with them. And I think Jamie Dornan did a good job in portraying this very kind of weird man who has serious issues when it comes to his personality and just his mental wellness. He just has a lot of problems. From what I remember from the first 9 chapters, the story was very straightforward in telling, the story of these characters. I don't remember there being a lot of moments that I laughed out loud while reading the story between these characters, like dialogue-wise. But in this movie, there was a lot of moments that had me and the audience members laughing along. And it wasn't like funny moments that weren't meant to be funny. There were moments that were meant to be funny. Like there was reactions with Anastasia's character that were really funny when it came to Christian, and Christian saying things to Anastasia that again made the audience laugh. And there was a lot of moments like that throughout the movie that were very humorous that I wasn't expecting. There was a lot of funny moments in the movie that were meant to be funny, and they were actually pretty funny. Now, I'm not trying to say that the whole movie was just basically poking fun with the whole idea of the story when it comes to Christian and his fetishes or anything like that, because there were moments in the movie where they were trying to highlight some serious moments when it came to Christian's character and why he was the way he was. But I think while they were doing that, I feel like they didn't do the best job when it came to developing his character, or maybe they're just holding that off for the following films, because I felt like there were just moments in the movie that I felt like spent more time on when it came to Christian's character for us, the audience member who are not completely aware of his character from the book, to get a better understanding of the place he's in mentally when it comes to why he is the way he is. And I don't feel like they did the best job in developing that. And I feel like the reason for that was because they spent way too much time on what I felt was a lot of unnecessary scenes. And those unnecessary scenes, in my opinion, were the sex scenes. I know the book is very heavy in, the sexual aspects when it comes to Christian and Anastasia's relationship, but I felt like a lot of the sex scenes were just drawn out. Like, there was probably maybe 4 sex scenes throughout the whole movie, maybe 5 in total, and I kind of wish they cut down on the length of these scenes and spent more time developing Christian's character, or developing the side characters, because there was a lot of side characters that they were introduced, but then as soon as they were introduced, they were gone, and you never really got a grasp of their personality and their relationship with either Anastasia or Christian. I feel like a lot of things were cut out of the movie. I don't mean like cut out from the book. I mean like they actually filmed scenes and they literally cut them out of the movie, because there were some scenes that didn't transition well to the following scene. Like I felt like there was something missing between certain scenes that I felt like should have been there. Now, as for the sex scenes, which is like the biggest thing about this movie that's creating so much buzz for this film, I have to say it was pretty tame for a movie about a character that has an obsession when it comes to BDSM. There were certain scenes that were like, oh, that's kind of graphic, but then at the same time I felt like I've seen worse on Showtime and HBO. The other positive that I have to give this movie is the music selection. I felt like they did a very good job when it came to selecting the music that they ended up selecting for the film. I felt like there was a lot of particular scenes where the music that they chose just played so well with, you know, these scenes and these moments that they had. There was this one moment that they're flying in a plane, or it's like a glider type of plane, that I thought worked so well with that one particular scene. And there is certain moments in the movie that they had music that just worked with the movie. And I feel like the soundtrack for this movie is something that I personally will enjoy listening to just because it was just that good. There were aspects of 50 Shades of Grey that I did appreciate, and there were aspects of 50 Shades of Grey that I wish weren't there or were, you know, done a lot better. So overall, I definitely recommend this movie to anybody who's a fan of 50 Shades of Grey. You are more than likely going to enjoy this movie. But if you watch the trailer, read the synopsis, have ever read the book, and it just doesn't interest you whatsoever, or if it disgusts you for whatever reason, don't go see this movie, because obviously you're not going to like it. But if you're curious in seeing the movie, I say give it a chance, go see it. You might like it, you might hate it. There's always that 50-50 chance. It's all up to you. So that is my review of 50 Shades of Grey. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. The Guest is directed by Adam Wingard. It stars Dan Stevens and a bunch of other very talented actors and actresses. Now, the premise of this movie follows the story of a soldier named David. He goes to the home of one of his ex-soldier friends from the military. He goes there because his friend ends up passing away during the war, and he made a promise to him that he would go and meet his family and take care of them. Because of this, the family takes him in and